Good morning, my name is Chris, and today I would like to talk about what a complicated, time-consuming, absolute pain in the arse smoking cigarettes can be, and why life as a non-smoker is just infinitely easier. Over the years on this channel, we've spoken so many times about the fears and doubts and concerns that people have about quitting smoking. Like, okay, it's not just that I have to go through the quit process and that might be unpleasant, but if I quit smoking, I have to deal with stressful situations or social situations or any situation without a cigarette. Smoking has become such a big part of my life that I won't know who I am without it, and I'll have to be a different person. And every time this comes up, I say no, no, no. It's not that you have to, it's that you get to. As a non-smoker, being able to deal with life without smoking is not a chore or a hassle or a punishment. It's an absolute blessing. Because responding to situations or emotions in life with a cigarette is never a natural response in the first place. You know, and you might say to me, but Chris, surely wanting to get rid of stress is a very natural human thing. And I agree. But to say, do you know what? I'm really stressed and I'm feeling bad today. So what I'm going to do is pollute my lungs, choke myself and get myself one step closer to some awful disease. That's not a natural human response, and it's not something that we ever need to do. So it's not that we have to, it's that we get to. Same with smoking being part of our identity. Oh, you know, I won't know who I am and I'll have to become a different person. You'll still be the exact same person you are, just healthier and a bit more alive. And then with a little more energy and mental clarity to be able to do and make any other big changes that you want to make in your life. But it's not even about these really big things. There is so much involved in smoking that it becomes such a hassle. There is so much to do and think about and plan for, all these small things that we don't even, I say we, when I smoked I didn't even realise how much of a pain in the arse it was. It was only when I extinguished my last cigarette and reflected back on it and went, smoking is really hard work. It's worth going through the quit just to have an easier life. And it's all of those small things that I'm going to talk about in today's video. But before I do, just another reminder, tomorrow is Saturday, August the 28th, which means that at 6:30 p.m. I'll be hosting the monthly live stream hangout. Chance for you to come and chat with me, ask me any questions, or just talk to me, you know, about your journey. If you've ever been thinking, you know what my weekend really needs? A pasty Englishman to talk at me non-stop for an hour. I've got a treat for you tomorrow at 6:30. The link for that is up in the card above and down in the description below. We'll also post it on the YouTube social thing and in Finding Freedom, so that hopefully you don't miss it. That's tomorrow. Today, let's get on and talk about why being a non-smoker is so much infinitely easier than being a smoker. I made a video ages ago now in where I worked out roughly how much time we spend smoking. I was saying that if we dedicate 5 minutes, say, per cigarette, and the cigarette is the only thing that we're doing, say we smoke 20 cigarettes a day, that's 20 lots of 5 minutes. My maths isn't great and I didn't check the old video before I came out, but I'm pretty sure that's a couple of hours at least a day, right? A couple of hours per day multiplied by 7 days a week, multiplied by months, multiplied by years. Can you imagine somebody who smoked for 10 years, how much time has been given over to just smoking? You know, and time is not infinite. We have a limited amount of time on earth, and so many things we could be doing with those extra couple of hours. My life as a smoker was always at work, cigarette break, work, cigarette break, work. You get the idea, right? As a non-smoker, I still take those breaks because it's good for me to take a break. But I have all this extra time to clean my house, which always seems to need cleaning. I get to go and take a few minutes to go for a walk, exercise or meditate, or play my guitar a little bit and annoy the neighbours. I have all this extra time to do more things. But it isn't just the time spent actually physically smoking a cigarette. It's all the time that goes into planning those cigarettes. And at first you may be thinking, well, I don't plan my cigarettes. If I want a cigarette, I have a cigarette. But sometimes life is not that simple. Well, I'm going somewhere later, so I have to figure out when I'm going to be able to fit a cigarette in. I've got to leave the house at 10 o'clock for a meeting at 10:30. So that means I need to be ready to go by at least 10 to 10 so that I can fit in an extra 5-10 minutes to have a cigarette before I leave. Or do I have the cigarette before I have my shower, or do I have it now? When do I fit this cigarette in? It takes planning. Or if I would decide I'm going to have the cigarette en route to wherever I was going, well, then I'm going to be really paranoid about stinking of cigarette smoke. So if I'm going to have cigarettes while I'm out, I also need to pack deodorant and mints. And then I need to get extra time to not just smoke the cigarette, but to sit there giving myself a deodorant bath, scoffing mints down my throat, trying desperately to hide the fact that I was smoking, even though it kind of never worked. I'm pretty sure people could still tell, and it certainly never did anything to ease my paranoia and self-consciousness. Have I said self-consciousness? I think that's right, isn't it? I could spray 2 full cans of deodorant on myself and eat 2 packs of mints and still be sat, in a work meeting or in some kind of situation where I wanted to present myself professionally, and still be going, oh my goodness, everyone knows I smoke and I look awful and I feel awful, and then I could not be present in that moment, and I couldn't focus on what was going on. Now, I'm pretty self-conscious about my appearance anyway. I slept terribly last night. I'm stood in front of this camera thinking, Christopher, you look a mess, but I'm here anyway, and I can do that today. Whereas when I was smoking, I was so absolutely riddled with this awful. I'm a nasty, horrible, dirty smoker, and everybody knows, and they can tell that I've been spraying stuff to try and hide it. And thank goodness, that none of that is applicable to my life today. I can just go into any situation, and regardless as to how I'm feeling about myself, I don't have that added pressure, that added paranoia, that added sense of there. Because I know I haven't smoked, and I know that nobody's thinking that I smoked or that I'm a dirty smoker. So it was all the planning that I had to do, and all the extra stuff just to hide the fact that I was smoking. It was a lot. And the planning continues. If I was, going on a long trip somewhere, well, where am I going to get to smoke? I've shared before about, flying and being in airports and, landing and getting through security. And my absolute first thought was, where is the smoking lounge? I need to find the smoking lounge. If it's like 3 terminals away, how fast do I have to run to get to that terminal to have the cigarette and then get back and catch my flight? There was one time, years ago now, I was over in the United States and I was in Chicago in O'Hare Airport. Is it O'Hare or O'Hare? I've no idea. I was in the airport in Chicago anyway, and there wasn't a smoking lounge. And I could not get on my flight without a cigarette. So I was like, I'm going to have to leave the airport, have the cigarette, go all the way back through security just for one cigarette. What an absolute hassle that was. And now if I get to go, you know, fly anywhere, which I can't at the minute because of COVID restrictions, I'm stuck here. But you know, when I have flown in the past, I mean, I had a domestic flight a couple of months ago, there's none of that. Breeze through checkout, find a place to sit, maybe grab a coffee or, you know, a water or something, read a book, get on the flight. It is so much easier. And I don't have to do any of that planning. You know, and it's not just that I think, oh great, you know, I don't have to plan anything. It just doesn't even enter my thought process. I just breeze through every situation knowing that there's never going to be a time when I have to stop and smoke or mask the fact that I'm smoking. It is so much easier. The other way that not smoking is so much easier than smoking is as a non-smoker, I no longer have to go and stand out in the rain or the cold or the miserable weather, which I live in England, so it's always miserable weather, you know, just to have a cigarette. I was talking with someone yesterday and recalling a time like right at the start of doing these YouTube videos, and I was house sitting and dog sitting for my parents and took the dog for a walk, and it was like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. It was the middle of winter. It was like around Christmas time. It was cold, it was wet, it was grey, and I was walking the dog and I walked past this lady who was sat, she had her garage doors open. For my American friends, that's a garage. She was sat, you know, had her garage doors open, was sat in the garage, huddled up with this blanket, having this cigarette, and I thought, oh, you poor woman. I really did, and I felt that, but then I felt, thank goodness I don't have to do that. You know, okay, I have to come and walk the dog, but that's far more a pleasant experience than sitting there shivering, wet and cold and going, I've got to have this cigarette and then I can start my day. So many things like that where we don't have to take ourselves out of situations just to smoke. You know, I can be talking to friends these days and be fully present with them. I can go and see my family, you know, my beautiful niece, and be perfectly present with her without thinking, okay, I've got to go and have a cigarette. You know, people are talking at you, and it's like, yeah, this is nice, but, you know, I got to go and do my thing. Or missing out on stuff. You know, there's some fun happening back here. There's a party, people are dancing, it's nice. But I've got to go and stand outside and have a cigarette. None of that happens when we quit smoking. You know, being able to focus, having a meal of an evening, it's like, right, well, now I've had my meal and that's triggered a craving for a cigarette, so I've got to go straight away and have the cigarette. Again, leave the table, leave the company of other people. It's extra time, it's an extra thing that I've now got to do. I just have to cook the food, eat the food, wash the dishes. I've also got to factor in this extra thing of having a cigarette. And I think that's what it all boils down to. Having a cigarette is always one extra thing in our day that we tell ourselves that we need and we don't. That meal of itself was a good meal. The company was nice, and that is enough. And we add this extra thing. I don't know why this extra thing is on this finger, but it is. We add this extra thing here, you know, just to make life more difficult and more complicated than it ever really needs to be. All of these extra steps. I remember sitting in 12-step meetings years ago and hearing people talking about the late night dilemma of, do they have enough alcohol to get them through the night? Okay, the shop shuts at 11 and it's now 10:45 p.m. Do I have enough booze to last? Do I have to do one last mad dash to the shop to stock up so I'll be safe? And to be honest, I never related to that in terms of alcohol. Like, that was just never an issue that I ever came across, but it certainly was an issue as far as cigarettes go. Okay, it's 10:45, the shop shuts in 15 minutes. Let me check this cigarette packet. Is there enough? Can I survive with just these cigarettes? Do I have to go to the shop? More planning, more extra steps. Oh, and I'm using that finger because I'm not waving that finger at you, sorry. You know, more extra steps, more things to do, more things to think about. Now I've got like this 15-minute window. I've got to get to the shop. Sometimes they shut early, and then I've done this before and I'm not proud of it. Getting to a shop and it was closed, and having this mad drive around town, desperately finding anywhere, just because I was so hopelessly addicted to this nicotine. When I could have been at home watching a film or spending time with someone who I liked, or doing any number of other things, which I get to do today. At no point in my life does it ever get to 10:45 and I question whether I have to go for a mad dash to the shop. Never in my life anymore is it 11:30 and I find myself driving around endlessly looking for cigarettes. To be honest, these days 11:30 I'm normally in bed, but you know, at least I don't have to go out for the smokes before that. It's just another extra step, another extra thing. And then get home from the mad dash and it's like, phew, got the cigarettes. Okay, where's my lighter? It's not in my pockets, it's not in the drawers, it's not under the couch, it's not under the carpet, because why would it be there? It's, where the heck is my lighter? You know, and then all this extra time and added complication of finding the cigarette, the lighter. Then it doesn't turn up, and then it's like, well, let's light one on the stove. You know, my hair used to not be so tall, it used to be down here, so it'd be like, singe my hair. Fucking hell. Pardon my language, but fucking hell. What a stressful, complicated, time-consuming hassle smoking is. Thank goodness, you know, that when we quit smoking, we don't have to do that anymore. It isn't when I quit smoking, I'll have to deal with stressful situations. You'll just deal with them. It just happens. Don't just take my word for it. You know, check out our Facebook group, Finding Freedom, facebook.com/group/findingfreedom1. You will meet people who are saying, look, my life is absolute chaos right now, but I'm getting through it without a cigarette. Because we just do. We get into the same mentality as non-smokers. Non-smokers never think to react to situations with a cigarette, and we don't either. The last thing that I want to talk about today is when we get to that point when we're no longer happy about smoking and want to quit, or have tried to quit and yet we're still smoking, how much of an extra headache that can be for us. I was talking, to a client ages ago about the conflict that we get when we know we should be quitting smoking and we're still doing it. And it's like, on the one hand, Chris, I know everything you're saying, I know, and yet still I can't seem to put that cigarette down, and I'm being torn between wanting to quit and holding on to something. So much conflict, so much inner turmoil, so much having to hide it when we've had a relapse. Oh my goodness, when I started thinking about making this video, this is one thing that I've played over in my mind so many times. Before I eventually quit smoking, I had 1,000,001 different attempts. And there was a time in my mid-20s when I was married to this very nice lady. She was my wife, she was a very nice lady. I was married to this lady, and she wanted me to quit smoking, and I tried once and it didn't work, and then I tried again, and I think I had like a couple of months where I wasn't smoking, and then I started again, and I can't even remember why I did, but I didn't want her to know, so I was hiding it, sneaking around, and again it was like, let's spend as much money on deodorant and mints as we do on cigarettes. And then I was sneaking around trying to have this cigarette, and she caught me, and it wasn't just that I'd been caught and she was mad at me. It was like, I love this person, or at least at the time I loved this person, and I've betrayed your trust, and I feel full of guilt and shame and remorse for this, and then I'm beating myself up over it. That's hard work, it's a hassle, and when we just quit smoking, we don't have to sneak around and hide it. We don't have to do the thing of, oh my goodness, I'm having a cigarette and I shouldn't be, and I'm full of remorse. There's none of that. Life as a non-smoker is just infinitely easier. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you found this helpful or interesting, or at least a way to pass 20 minutes of your time. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Just a quick reminder again, our live stream is tomorrow 6:30 p.m. UK time. The link again is down in the description below. There is our Finding Freedom Facebook group that I mentioned earlier, facebook.com/groups/findingfreedom1. This amazing community that keeps growing and getting better, of people at all different stages of their quit. And of course, I haven't brought it outside with me today, but I wrote a book once. This is where I normally go, ta-da! It's called Quit Smoking and Be Happy, available in print and ebook form from Amazon. Hope to see you tomorrow at the live stream. If not, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much. Bye.